Hello and welcome to another edition of the SOS show with James Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr., super organizer. And no, you didn't hear the intro because we're doing things a little differently because of the whole virus pandemic thing. I'm kind of doing this live, recorded on video, as opposed to just audio. I'm giving you a little extra, and I'm so happy to do this with you guys. Welcome to the show. Everybody is safe and sane and doing what they can during this time period. I know it's a little rough for everyone. We're all going through this together. We're recording this on a certain day, but this is for May 4th, 2020. That's what it's for. So, but my guest, by the time this airs, will have had her birthday. And it's 6 days before mine. So it's our Taurus season month. Taurus season week, month, something like that, whatever it is. It's coming up. I'm gonna read her goodies. And I'm fine. She's a friend of mine, so I'm glad to have her finally on the show. She's a speaker and a presenter. She's the founder of Discover Organizing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I love my Pittsburgh. She's a member of NAPO, which is the National Association of Productivity and Organizers. She's a certified professional organizer herself. She's a member of NASMM, love the folks at NASMM, National Association of Senior Move Managers. And she's also a member of APPO, the Association of Professional Photo Organizers. Yes, there are those there too. And she's just a fabulous person. And my fellow Pittsburghian, Jill Yesko. Hi, Jill.
Hi, how you doing, James?
So you got your background. I got my shirt on. We didn't plan it, folks. We really didn't plan this.
Didn't. I just like to be near a beach, and in Pittsburgh, that's not possible. So this is the closest I can get.
And sadly, I live near a beach in LA, but we can't go to it.
That's right. God, the irony is just crazy right now.
It is. And it's been the hottest in LA this last week. It's been in the 90s here, which is hot for us. And
oh my God.
Can't go to the beach. So in LA County. The other counties did open up.
I'm still wearing a flannel shirt. So
oh my God, I remember those days.
Yeah, it's in the low 50s right now. So I'm not putting the flannel shirts away, James, until maybe July.
Yeah, maybe July. I was like, I don't blame you on that one, girl. So I was gonna ask you, how are you doing with all this stuff that's going on?
Oh, well, I have a large professional organizing firm. So unfortunately, we did have to lay off, and we're calling it furlough. That's the fancy word for it. Our team, a lot of our team has been furloughed, and we are starting to bring them back. The reason why we can bring certain people back is because they're photo organizers. Since they're professional photo organizers, they have a no-touch situation, with their clients, because we're digitizing family collections, business. We do a lot of business to business marketing and work with photo archives for businesses. So that way we can just do Zoom meetings and stay in touch that way and keep our clients happy. We work on photo albums digitally. So it's been a godsend. But I have applied for all of the loans. I'm still waiting, just like the rest of America. The first wave I was not able to get. So I'm waiting for the second wave.
Same here.
But James, I'll tell you what, I am of the mind that I've never received assistance from anyone in 17 years of business. So I'm kind of a scrapper, I've just always made do, and we're just all putting our heads together at the company. We meet twice, our admin team who's still with us, we meet twice a day. And we strategize, we improvise constantly, and that's what we're doing.
Before I begin, I want to give my thanks and gratitude. I do every show. That's to everyone out there who is trying to make a way. I want to give thanks and gratitude that she just brought something up that I want to share with people. We're finding newer ways to do things. You're being forced to think outside the box, which I do all the time anyway, but now I see people are coming around to that now. And it's been beautiful seeing people find new ways to exist. And I think this is going to be something that will carry us even through this time period. So I just want to make sure I say that. You bring up something. You've been in business 17 years, girl. 17.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in business 11, but 17.
So
this must be just a really strange thing in 17 years. You're being forced to actually find parts of yourself to deal with all this that's going on.
Right. And in the recession 10 years ago, a little bit more than that now, I remember thinking, this is awful, this is terrible. And I wasn't alone, but I was in the minority of small businesses that, I guess it's in Pittsburgh. I had a professional organizing store, and we were actually this is a NAPO tidbit for NAPO, the Professional Organizers Association. I remember getting nominated at the LA Organizing Awards for my store, and I went up against the Container Store. I was like, what? I can't compete with that. But I did not win because the Container Store should win because they're awesome. But I had a 2,400 square foot store in Pittsburgh, and it was basically the precursor to the Container Store here in Pittsburgh. And it had closet vignettes, and it had organizing products and services, and we had a whole training room in the back that was so cool. And I would teach workshops back there, and it was all state of the art back then. You know, I even had a shredding drop off service. I was the only person in Pittsburgh that had a shredding drop off service. And it was all really great. It was just before its time, unfortunately. And it was just, you know, open during a time that people just didn't have the money for goods. But the weird thing is, and I will tell you this is part of what I want to talk to you about today, is that organizing is such a good focus to always have, because that's what helped us get through. People still wanted, they might not have wanted a closet system or a fancy container, but they wanted us. They wanted us professional organizers to help make sense of their new world. And I think as professional organizers, even in this new challenge that we have with the coronavirus, I think people will still need professional organizers, if not more so, to guide them. And, you know, so we have to stay kind of strong right now, because we're going to be a tour guide to sanity, to be honest with you. So we kind of have to keep our stuff together right now, and be a beacon of order and sensibility and strength and wisdom, to be honest. So I'm really
completely agree with you. I feel like, and I always say this, there are very few professions where from toddler to death, everyone can use us in some form.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, there's old people, young people, middle-aged, kids, teenagers. I mean, someone can use our services, and our services are so broad.
Yes.
It covers so much. It's not just throwing stuff away. We're much bigger than that, and it covers so many areas. So I think that's something, you're right. And now folks are stuck at home in their shit. I mean, excuse my language, but they're stuck in their stuff, and now they're really going. I'm getting calls like, "Oh my God, I need to like get this shelf together." They're seeing that their systems they don't have stuff in their house are not working. I can't find the ketchup. I can't find the tongs when I'm in the kitchen. Like they're seeing, aren't they?
Well, and this is one of the things, like, you know, being a creative person really helps out, is that we're offering, we know stuff's piling up. We know people are decluttering things. You know, decluttering is, you know, just 1/3 of the organizing process. And it's the first third, and it's an important third, because then whatever's left is what you have to organize and then, of course, maintain. But I think we have this program now that we're offering. You know, if you buy 2 hours of organizing services, it could be virtual organizing, it could be decluttering, it could be move management services, however you want to. You buy 2 hours of decluttering or move management, organizing services, whatever, even photo organizing. We will throw in a free trip to Goodwill or the vets, wherever you want us to take stuff. And that way we're letting you know that we promise that we will be picking that stuff up that you've already gone through, but we'll also help you get through the rest of the stuff. So that's what we're offering for this is like one of those things that we just, again, reinventing ourselves.
You mentioned something I want to say. I'm a great advocate of old towels, old blankets, old sheets. Take them to shelters. There are a lot of animals who are sitting on floors, or sitting on cold floors. They don't have any comfort, so they will take them. As long as they're they're halfway decent. You know, give them something. Give them to those places. Those places are good places to give them for the animals.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do. We have a whole section in our office for pets, and it has blankets, towels, even like pillows that are just, you know, throw pillows that aren't, you know, gorgeous anymore.
Right.
That will make a bed for a cat. That will make a bed for a dog or a puppy. Yeah. So yeah, we try. We try to use everything. I have 2 dogs myself, and believe me, they'll find a scrap of something and pull it over and use that as a bed. And I'm like, okay.
They do.
Very, very resourceful.
I'll go back for a second to your store. You had a store. That's so amazing.
For
Um,
3 years. Yeah.
I wish we had something like that now for small. I mean, I know like everybody's container store and stuff, blah blah blah. But I also know people who can't afford container stores. So I would love to have a place that was, and some folks like all in one. They like everything in one. So if I can go there, get some shredding done, go take a training class, get some organizing products, I think I would love that. I love that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm only 50, right? We're only 50. I think we have time if we want to do something like that together, James. We'll do
Yeah.
it.
I know. It's like, it's okay. I do
Start
10,000 things.
our own store.
Don't
I
give
know.
me any ideas. Don't give me any ideas. I want to do it. I want to do everything. All right, do
I
10,000
know.
things.
I know. You got to do everything and hurry up too. Get it all done. I know. Before we get too much older and we can't do it anymore.
And someone asked me the other day. I just recorded a video about that recently. Someone asked me, how much longer can you do this? And I was like, well, my knees hurt sometimes a little more, and recovery time's a little rougher. And I'm trying to stretch. And now you don't know this about Jill. Homegirl be snowboarding. When she be skating, whatever. You do all kind of stuff. But it's just like you're like this fearless woman out there doing stuff that I would never do. So you could probably do it way longer than I could, girl.
Let me just tell you, I did not start snowboarding or surfing until I was 46, 47 almost.
What?
Yeah. I was raising my kids. I was being, a mama and raising my business just like a kid,
Yeah.
but I was like, you know what, wait a minute. I don't have all these responsibilities to watch people and feed people anymore. So I started surfing, and I just started in Miami. Even though I live in Pittsburgh, I would take trips and I would just learn. And then I finally got a great surf instructor. My boyfriend hired a wonderful surf instructor for me as a 50th birthday present in Maui. And I finally learned the proper pop-up, and that was only a year ago. So, I mean, I've just been kind of trudging along, but I do like extreme sports. I do like to be thrown around a lot. And I do love to show off my reef cuts and my bruises and be like, yeah, look, I just, I got stung by all these jellyfish. Look, it's kind of fun. It's cool. I have to have something to be cool about, James.
Being an organizer is cool. What do they tell you?
You're right. I'm sorry. Being an organizer is very cool. It's very cool. Everybody should be doing it.
But that to me, I think you and I are both kind of examples, and I think of my girl Regina Lott too, who started organizing at 50. That age sometimes is just a number in terms of wanting to try something within reason, obviously.
Within reason. Yeah, I'm not going to cliff dive, James. I'm not going to cliff dive. Nor will I jump out of an airplane. Okay.
If you did it, I would not be surprised. If you did it, I'd be like, oh, that's Jill. Of course she did it. I would not be surprised if you did it.
I just have my limits. I will not do that.
Okay. No. We'll do that. Mm-hmm. I'll ask you. So what did you learn about yourself when you started snowboarding and surfing? What new things did you learn about yourself?
Excellent question.
I just
I know, I can tell. I tell you what, I always knew I was tenacious, but I didn't know exactly how tenacious I was until I started surfing, because snowboarding is one thing where you fall down and you hit the earth a lot on your butt, and it hurts really bad. I mean, I also ski, and that's just like, to me, that way of falling is very different than falling on packed ice and snow on your butt all the time, which is what snowboarders do. Either they fall on their butts or they fall on their knees. Okay. Really hard. Like, there's no mercy. Okay. Yeah. So I've had concussions and I've had injuries. I've had all sorts of stuff with snowboarding, but surfing is an entirely different animal, because the waves are coming at you, much like life. The higher the wave, for me, it's just a lot of pressure to hit me in the face, and it pushes you back. It pushes you back towards the shore, and it really takes a lot of energy and the stamina, physical stamina, but also mental stamina, to keep pushing through to get to the break, to get to that smooth part where you wait for the wave. And I really do believe that I have spent a lot of my life surfing. Just doing it in real life, just constantly all I've wanted to do is just get to that quiet place where I can watch the horizon and rest. And entrepreneurs don't take a lot of time to rest. And that's one of the most valuable things I learned is that, yes, fight, push, and be smart about it. Use the riptide channel where you can. Use openings where you see them, and don't make it so hard on yourself. And I found ways to get over the waves that don't hurt as much. I found ways that I won't get smacked in the face as hard. There's a couple of different ways you can get out there without too much pain. And you get out, and once you get out there, you go, wow, I made it this far. I swam with a surfboard with an 8-foot or a 10-foot, depending. I'm a longboarder. I'm not a shortboarder yet. But just to think about all the storms I've surfed in my life, but also physically, I've surfed in a lot of storms, which is meaning you get some killer waves in a storm, especially after a hurricane. But it's also something to think about this analogy. Surfers are the only idiots, right, out there after a hurricane, right? I mean, you've seen them. You live in California, and I'm not saying you have a lot of hurricanes necessarily, but you've seen storms.
Yeah.
And you know that you see these crazy people out there, and you're like, what are you doing? And we're like, yeah, like we're out here because this is our chance to actually catch some major waves that are out there, like 8-foot, maybe 20-foot. I don't do 20-foot waves, but I was doing baby waves, like 4 waves, and that's what you should do. 2-foot waves, 4-foot waves when you're starting out. And of course me, I'm in Miami. This is like 3 years ago. I go out after this hurricane, and the swell's crazy and the winds are crazy. And I literally lost my shirt. I lost my fins, but I laughed my butt off, and I had the best time. Don't worry, I was wearing a bathing suit underneath my rash guard.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I have donated a lot of swimwear to the ocean, but luckily I'm secure underneath that swimwear. But yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is that when you think about those people and you say, oh my God, they're either crazy or ridiculously brave. Entrepreneurs are both, whether you're a professional organizer just making your way in the world, or you have a deli, or you have a bakery, or you have a CPA firm, you're out there and you're surfing, you're hitting the waves, you're pushing against tides and currents. And sometimes you don't listen to reason. You don't look at the surf report. You don't look at the wave reports. You just go, and you don't know if there's sharks out there. A lot of people ask me that too. Aren't you afraid? Well, just like an entrepreneur, yeah, of course, but it's a managed fear. Just like a fireman, goes into a burning building, but then it does that every day with no problem. But when asked to give a speech at his daughter's school, he'll say, I can't do that. Are you kidding me? No way. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's not a managed fear, right?
Yeah.
So surfing has taught me a lot about myself, that I have pushed through more and more obstacles in my life that I ever should have pushed through. And I did, and I got to the break every single time. I maybe wouldn't have gotten there the same way you did, or a better surfer, or a better business person, but I did get there. So that's what I learned.
I like that because for me, it was, I started at age 40. During the recession is when I started. People were like, you're crazy, James. You're crazy. I mean, I left my high-powered job, and I'm making 200. I mean, I said, I'm going to do this. And they thought it was crazy. But then they later know that it's like James Lott Jr. But I know that when I started doing marathons, that's the one thing I started in my 40s.
Oh.
And those are tough. And those are 6 months of training, and then you do the thing. So I remember the first marathon. I'm looking at my award that I finished over there. Because I laughed because I put the first one I ever did up in front of me. So I always like to look at it because I related to being an entrepreneur. Because it is a marathon, it's not a short sprint. And there are a lot of things they teach you when they're training you that you can actually use for life. Like, don't use up all your energy at first, don't do this, take steps. Everything is baby, it's step. Like, this all relates to being an entrepreneur. And it was something that I also thought entrepreneurship was for those other people. I didn't think
Right.
that's not for me. I always got jobs and did well there for somebody else. Marathons were for those other people who are super in shape and are good runners. That's not it. And the thing with your surfing, so it's mindset. That's literally what it is. I mean, yeah, you have to have some skill or whatever, but like it's mindset. That's what I took away from it all. And I feel like you took the same thing away from that too.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because the smarter I got about calming down, and one of the surf instructors I had was really good. I went to Cocoa Beach last year for the ICD conference,
Oh yeah.
and the ICD conference was in Orlando, but I of course planned a day before I was going to get to a coast. I mean, I'm stuck here in Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh, and I do like river surfing here behind a boat, but it's very different than palm trees. So I remember him saying to me, Jill, what are you doing? And I was like, what? I'm paddling. I'm about to pop up. And he said, you're going into fourth gear, like instead of going first, second, third, fourth up. And I went, oh, much like my real life, I just start out in fourth gear. And I didn't realize that I was doing that on a surfboard. And then he taught me that. So that was cool. But then he also taught me how to do a technique so I could do something called a backside left. And that basically is what you see a surfer do when they have their back to the wave and they're going along the wave, not like
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. And
I'd always just come in straight to the sand. I'd never learned to do anything where I would put my heels in a certain position. I was just happy to be up on the board and coming in and not wiping out, in front of a 5-year-old who came my way or something. And I was just always like, oh my God, I'm up. And so in 1 hour, this guy taught me to slow down, to take my gears and go 1, 2, 3, 4, my gears, like he would yell, first, second, Jill, third. And he was so good. And then he taught me this trick. And so now I've mastered not using up all my energy, like you said, as a runner should do when they're training for a marathon, to utilize that resource, to take things in gears, gradually. And then now I can finesse my style and my technique, instead of just being grateful for, like an entrepreneur would just be making the money, getting out there, putting the money in the bank. Well, now I can do more things with my skill set, and I can do more things with my knowledge now that I've kind of slowed down and taken in some more lessons. And I think that's just so true with just about anything that you do.
That's very much life. And the last thing for me just with that is, remember my first marathon, that last mile, I saw the finish line, it was in front of me. They always tell you in training to unclench your butt cheeks, unclench your butt cheeks, unclench your butt cheeks. They always say that in the training. We had pacers. I follow the pacer.
Yeah, the numbers.
Yeah, with the numbers, exactly. And so I was in one of the last groups. Yes, I finished. I'm gonna read this to you guys. I finished 183rd out of 185 males aged 40 to 45, and I finished 1,272 out of 1,300 males. So, I mean, I wasn't one of the first ones, clearly, but I did finish. But I tell people that's because I tell them that that's life. It wasn't about being number 1 or 2. It was about completion. And right. I clinched up my butt cheeks by accident at that last mile, and it hurt like F. And I was like, because sometimes you forget how your body's all connected. And this being a snowboarder and a surfer. So my butt cheeks are connected to my thigh, to my leg, to my feet, to my arm, to my side. It's connected to everything. So everything was like, oh my God. But I saw that finish line, girl, and I was like, James Lott Jr., you're going to pull everything together. You're going to take your old ass through that finish line because you're so close. And it was mindset. You're so close. Flip that switch, James, and you just make it there. And they take pictures of you from various angles, and they show them to you later if you want to buy them. The face I made making it to that finish line was exactly how I felt. It was like I dragged my dead leg through that finish line. It was like that face was exact. I bought that picture. I was like, that face was exactly how I felt. But I started crying. I started sobbing because I was in pain. Number 1. Number 2, I did it. And that's
you were so relieved.
Oh my goodness.
So I know.
I remember when I got my first client. and I completed my first session, my first client. I'm a crier. I cried because I was just like, I didn't cry in front of the client. I cried on my own. It's like, I made this a dream. I did this. Like, I really did this. Like, I became an entrepreneur. Just that one client, but that one client, I got paid, and that's an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur. There was a transaction, there was
Exactly.
service,
Exactly right. You
and I
weren't
cried.
organizing a friend's basement anymore. You were getting paid by a real client, and that feeling is amazing. And you come home dirty, and you know you didn't get paid enough, but you're just so happy you got the check, and you have dirt under your fingernails, and you know you're covered in dust and spider webs, but it feels amazing.
And it feels like, I earned it.
Yeah.
I did something that I earned it. I'm not just pushing papers for somebody else. I literally booked the client found me. I booked the client. I worked with the client. I completed the thing, and then I got a paycheck. And I was home going, wow, so this is what this feels like. And that's much like the things that we're doing with the surfing and everything. It all kind of ties together.
And that's my point too about being an entrepreneur. Um, when I was talking about the surfing, in a storm, when things are even crazier, entrepreneurs are the ones that will grab their surfboards and head into those waves and into the storm, because that's what we do, right? I mean, it's not, isn't there a quote about it's not the ship, it's the sailor, right? And it's not the strength of the boat, it's the strength of that person, guiding the boat. And I think, right now, given how things are with the coronavirus and just trying to navigate a whole new storm, because we deal with disappointments, ups and downs. We have client cancellations. We have employees or team members that don't work out, or we have,
Clients that don't work out. I've had to fire a few clients.
yeah,
Not many, but I had to fire a few over the 11 years. I had to fire a few. It just didn't work out.
didn't work out. And, we have those disappointments anyway. And that's like the ebbs and flows of our businesses. It's just, we expect that. But during these times, I think, we are strong. Entrepreneurs are strong people. We're used to being up all night. We're used to the day-to-day challenges that come our way, and we just keep punching through those waves. And I think, I guess that would be the biggest thing I think we can take away from this is we're just reshaping ourselves. We're not falling down. We're just changing our appearance a little bit, and we're just finding a new way to exist and a new way to be. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. I'm not afraid of having a penny, because I know I can make more pennies. I can always earn more income, and I can create more opportunities, not only for myself, but, I have 18 mouths to feed back at the office. So I have to worry about them, and they motivate me. They make me be a better person too. When you have employees or independent contractors or a team of any kind, I think they are the ones that keep me on my toes. And there are days, James, I have not wanted to get out of bed. I posted that my dad passed away a month ago.
Yeah, I know. Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It was really rough, because I was in at the NASMM conference giving a
Yes.
6-hour, very long pre-conference intensive speech, knowing that he was declining that whole day and that I'd probably have to fly out. And I remember thinking, this is hard, but there are people out there that have a worse situation than I do. I always kind of think about that. I mean, I still acknowledge my own hardship and my pain and stuff like that. But I think because I'm dealing with the grief of losing my dad, plus the grief of losing a good chunk of my workforce and the identity of my business and what can we still do. And we did get a waiver because we work with so many people with hoarding disorder and seniors that are disabled. We actually do work with a lot of disabled seniors and people with Parkinson's and MS. And I did get approval by our state governor to continue to work, but I didn't push it. So we're only doing absolutely necessary work, which is also hard as an entrepreneur and a capitalist to just say,
I know.
Okay.
I
Okay.
know, girl.
So
I
what you're
know.
telling me is I have the potential to make a lot more money than I'm making, but for the good of the order, I'm going to say no. But yeah, so I think, the staff, my team, if I didn't have them, I'd probably still be in bed some mornings that I should have been at the staff meeting, the virtual
Yeah, yeah.
staff meetings that we have. But I honestly would say if I didn't have them, they're like my second family. This would also be harder. And I think it's reciprocal. I think we're all helping each other right now as best we can. And it's good to have their support. And I know they know I have their best interest at heart. I've done everything I can possibly do to bring us back as soon as we can and to be compliant. So we're doing what we can.
It's one of those things. And your son works for you too, right?
Yeah, he's our chief information officer, and he started out as an employee when he was a teenager in the store, stocking shelves and delivering organizing products to our clients when they were doing a DIY project. So he has always been a big part of my business, one way or the other, and now he's one of the biggest parts of it. So if you see the website, he did the website.
Okay, good.
So
Okay, good. Use the young folks. Use them young folks for stuff. They know. Exactly.
I'd rather not. I'd rather have a root canal than make a website for sure. Yeah, without Novocaine.
Yeah, I'm saying root canals aren't that bad, but if you do without, yeah, that's so crazy. So I mean, so that's good. So what have you seen in him as you've been working with him that's kind of like made you proud?
I think first of all, he has to deal with, me.
Yes.
Being his because, God help him and, my mood swings and my, emotional, I'm being honest, right?
I love it. I understand. I love it.
Both very transparent people.
Yes, we are.
So I feel like, his attitude is what has been his saving grace too, because he is all about the company. And he actually approached me right after college, and he said, I've been doing some freelance work as marketing and communication person, and I'm helping all these businesses grow. Why am I not doing that for you? And I'm like, I didn't want to pressure you. I didn't want you to make you think that you had to be in the family business, And he said, well, I want to help you grow because I love you and you're my mom. And I'm like,
like, oh my God, that's.
No, and so he came on board and he learned. I said, you have to work your way up, and he still makes a very meager wage. It's very meager. God bless him. And so he does, first of all, he was kind of doing everything, right? Like figuring out where he would kind of fit. And through the years, he's kind of morphed into really managing so much of our information, our marketing and media communication. He's an excellent graphic designer. He can work in any Adobe product. So for the photo organizing part of our business, which is like 30% of our revenue, he has created a camera scanning rig setup. He's created all these different processes. He trains all the new people that come in to do scanning and digitization. He's a member also of the APPO, which is now the photo managers. She changed the name. And so he's a full-fledged member, and he's really integral in the Facebook community there, and he gets tips, he gives tips. So he's real techie, but he enjoys the artistry, just like you enjoy the artistry of the voice and the music that you do. He enjoys the artistry of actually making something more beautiful. And we just finished a big project of a fire restoration, photo restoration after a fire, where an 83-year-old woman hired us because her husband's military picture was burned from here up. And she was very sad, and it was just the most meaningful picture to her. So my son restored it, and we got it the job through Service Master because we partnered with Service Master.
I know them. I love them.
Yeah, I love them too. And she said, can you help my client? This picture just means the world to her, and she had a fire, and we just cleaned up the fire. So we do get water water damage restoration jobs, as well as just regular digitization. And he seems to like those projects the most, where he can make the biggest visual difference and improvement on something.
That's
So
cool.
he's,
I mean,
yeah.
a good boss knows each of people's strengths in their team.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to make sure, again, it's checking in. Do you still want to work here? Do you still like this? I know we have a lot of pressure. You know, we have a lot of things that we have to do as business owners, you know, and I'm now giving him part of the share. So he's starting to understand that he's got skin in the game, and that my loss is his loss. And that's kind of changed some attitudes a little bit too. Not that he ever had a bad attitude, but I think his attitude was just more aloof, because he didn't really see the guts of what happens when something goes wrong here, how it affects way over there, and it affects over here and over there, and it's just a pebble in the pond. It isn't just maybe an unsatisfied customer about something that happened with our cleaning team. It's everything. It's always everything. And I always tell him that it means everything to me. So, and he now gets why. So that's nice to see. And he's going to be 27 next week. So
all of us Tauruses is running around. We're just running around. We're all running around. Everybody be careful of the bulls. All the bulls are everywhere.
I know.
There are bulls running around.
I know. That's bunch of stubborn, creative people.
We are. And actually, and sometimes I tell people our stubbornness works to our advantage, because
it does.
We do follow through. We're steadfast. We're going to.
Oh yeah. I'm not stopping until I'm done. And that's just the way it is.
Same here, girl. That's just me. I do not. I'm a person who's like, yes, I'll put my stubbornness for good, not evil. I do my best.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are times, when I get mad, watch out. Yes, clearly, but
yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I have the double entendre. I have the double whammy of being a redhead. So, I get the
Love my gingers. Yes. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, beautiful red hair. I love it.
Thank you.
My favorite cousin's a redhead, and we get along famously. I love it. He has redhead and freckles, and we get along famously. So, my favorite cousin Jason. Shout out to him. It's just interesting because we're talking about mindset basically, and mind shifting. And you brought up something that I think is very important. That if you as we start to wrap up this conversation, because I talked to you forever, but they don't like that. But that. It's all about seeing your business differently. You said those words earlier, and I totally completely. And I've been a person in this business where things have always been done the same. There's a lot of that goes on. It's always been done this way. And I'm always pushing the envelope. You know me, I'm always pushing the envelope and doing things a little differently. But it's one of those things, I'm seeing it now. I think it's beautiful. I'm seeing in our business, organizing business, people are starting to do things they normally wouldn't do. They are trying to figure out ways to do things differently. A lot of virtual organizing is happening. I'm seeing this now. I'm seeing folks that kind of gave me some side eye before, like, oh, okay, James, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I want to try this now. I'm getting a lot of phone calls and emails for my advice on things. And I'm happy to give it. I'm just like, it's free. Here, take it. I don't care. But I think it's been beautiful to see people, organizers, realize they have a business. They love doing this. It's our calling, but it's a business. And you may have to conform to what's going on right now. And that's basically what you and I have been talking about, just taking that and kind of making it work for you.
You really do. You have to be moldable. And I think for us, I'm a type A. I think you are too. Overachieving. It's been an interesting ramp for me to walk up to being a type B in a way, because right now, I want to push forward and get my goals met and do all this stuff, because I'm a type A. And the minute, I came home from my father's funeral in St. Louis, the next day I had to shut down my office by the order of the governor, and it's fine. But, I'm just like, just in this constant readjustment phase. But my next phase was, what am I doing to get us back in business right away? And it had only been 24 hours since the shutdown. So I did 5 free webinars, which I was terrified of Zoom before
Really?
that, by the way. I was
Okay.
also terrified of the ocean before I went in it, PS.
Wow.
Never went surfing because I was afraid of the ocean. So here I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the thing is I started doing the Zoom webinars, 5 free ones. I offered virtual organizing services as a result. We have new virtual organizing. That was able to give Sandy, one of our lead organizers, she's also a member of ICD and NAPO, and I gave her the opportunity for all of our virtual services that came out of those webinars to be her clients. So now she has a nice full bank of clients. She's off of furlough.
Good.
She's doing virtual organizing, and she's helping in the photo department. So it's just, I think for us, anyway, for my company, I think for me, I have to be on this ramp for self-care, because that's also really important during this time, to get on this ramp to saying, I'm going to try being a little type B. And I think I love type B people so much because they balance me. They make me feel whole when I'm with them, because they pull down that must get to the top bar of the top ladder of the top of the mountain of Everest, Jill, to it's okay to walk along the beach and feel the breeze. I need someone to tell me just because it's an ocean doesn't mean you have to dive in and surf an 8-foot wave. Sometimes it's okay to watch the water, enjoy the breeze, listen to the music of the ocean that it provides you, and actually feel the sand, right? But I've been on this ramp now, James, just trying to go up to that. It's not a downward feeling, it's an upward feeling. And that's what's important to remember, is that this can be an upward journey for you too, is to go and find out something different about yourself. And right now there's a lot of type B people that are working on their type A goals because they're being catapulted into, like you said, I've got to organize my home now. I've got to do all these things I've been putting off and procrastinating. Now I have no choice. I have to do this. I have to get this done now. So now we're all kind of changing roles in our households and in our businesses. And I'm just trying to do a lot of self-care, and hopefully that helps me to be a better business owner. Just like it helped me to be a better mom, to take a bath at night, to give me some time alone, to read a book. And they would, be at the door, mom. And I'm like, I just need 5 more minutes because I'm going to be a better mommy when I come out. And they would see me come out in my robe and go, you do look like a better mommy. Well, now I need to be a better business owner. And the only way to be that is to take care of me and my business by doing self-care.
Well, I'm a big advocate for self-care. And if you watch me, anybody watches me online, I post my garden photos and garden videos all the time.
I watch them.
I know. I love my garden. That's my sanctuary. I'm very blessed. I have a huge front yard, backyard garden where everything's blooming, and I'm making my own jams, and I'm doing all this stuff with my fruits. You see it all. So that's what so I think self-care, I'm completely, like I said, 2 years ago, my face was paralyzed. I couldn't do anything. So
I remember that Bell's palsy.
Palsy. It was horrible. I had a very extreme case of it. And I was out for almost 11 months. So, that was so I've learned from that. So last year was my first year back in business. And I learned how to do things differently. That was the thing, is again, modification. And especially with this whole virus thing going around, it's like your immune system needs to be up. You need to be more healthier. I'm eating healthier. I've lost 10 pounds so far. I'm doing all these things I'm doing that I think, I love my business so much that it could drive me crazy because I love it so much. I could do it 24/7. Not a good idea. You gotta separate. You gotta turn off the computer and go to the other part of the house. Go somewhere else.
That's right. Because if you don't, you will experience burnout. And you know that. You know what burnout feels like. And Banksy, the artist, said something really famous that I hold on to almost every day. He said, when you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. And so many people tend to just burn themselves out, and then they can't do it anymore. And I've been there. I've almost quit several hundred times.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But I just remember those words, and that kind of pulls me through. And I love his art, so it's kind of cool.
And the thing I will say that my Aunt Faith told me years ago was, to learn how to do nothing well.
Oh, I'm still working on that. I'm
I
still
know,
working on
I know.
that.
It's a tough one, but she said that I was like, ooh. She goes, there's times when you just need to learn how to do nothing well. That's a good thing.
There doesn't have to be a purpose to every minute of your life.
Exactly. And as organizers, that's hard for us.
Oh yeah.
You know, I got
It's
purpose.
very-
That got me through this whole quarantine because I've had purpose in my life. But this weekend I relaxed. So I did a whole thing where I just watched Netflix stuff. So I did nothing well this weekend. So
Good for you. I am proud of you. I think there needs to be a support group for type A's. I do. I think we need, like, you know, where we sit around and we color and we binge watch together something. Like, can I tell you that I love The Crown and I will only allow myself to watch it 15 minutes at a time.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to work now. I know. So guess what I did last week? Guess what I did?
What did you do last week?
I watched a whole episode in its entirety.
Wasn't it better?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Where I am rationing out a show about Queen Elizabeth II. Right. I don't know.
Come on, girl.
I got problems.
I challenge you to binge watch a series.
Oh my God. I don't know. I'll try.
Here's
I just went from 15 minutes to an hour. You want me to binge watch?
I'm going to modify that because I believe in my motto is small steps and large rewards. I'm going to challenge you to watch 3 episodes in a row.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Challenge accepted.
You could do it.
3
episodes.
I will report back.
3 episodes at some point. That's a nice little chunk of relaxing. Right. So I say just watch 1 or 2. That's not enough. You need like 3 hours. I want you to do 3 hours. Okay. Well, it's not 3 hours. It's like 40 minutes per episode. It's like that. Whatever it is. I want you to block out 3 hours and watch 3 episodes in a row and relax.
Wow.
Get a drink, girl. Something to sit there and do it.
I'm excited. Somebody just gave me permission to rest.
Gave permission to rest. Do nothing well, folks. Jill Yesko, my girl, Discover Organizing is the place. Tell folks where they can find you on all the interwebs.
Okay, it's discoverorganizing.com. It's that simple. Just go visit us at discoverorganizing.com. You'll see lots of great articles. There's lots of great stuff in terms of there's some YouTube channel stuff going on. There's some blogs, and then you can meet all my staff because we're all there just saying hello to you. So join us at Discover Organizing.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
You know, you're one of my favorite people, so I'm glad we finally got you on here.
I know. I'm just sorry we can't be hooking up at Bob Evans having some sauce.
Oh my God! Why'd you say Bob Evans? Why'd you say Bob Evans? My place. Oh my goodness! The breakfast is so good.
I know. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go. We're gonna
find. I'm gonna get back there. I want to see you. I want to see Vicky. I want to see all you guys. I want to come back there. So I'm gonna be in Pittsburgh at some point. We're gonna do that.
Okay, well, you're not allowed to come here and not see us. So
yeah, I know. I know. Trust me, I know. I get in trouble, so I know I'll get in trouble. So I'm expecting that. So, folks, follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. is sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. Super Organizer is everywhere you want to be, of course, on every social media platform, on every streaming service. This video is on YouTube at JLJ Media. Go ahead and be so kind and like and subscribe whenever you see this thing, and share with anybody who needs to hear what's going on. We're talking mindset on the show. Follow her at discoverorganizing.com. And of course, follow everyone out there who's doing organizing, because they're good people out there doing great work, doing God's work. And everyone out there, please try to stay as safe and sane as you can during this difficult time. I see you, she sees you, we hear you. We're all going through it together. That's kind of the magical thing about this, when nobody's really alone. We're all kind of going through it together. But we know it's a tough time. And if you're living in a place with lots of clutter, and our systems are not working for you, contact us and we can get you in contact with somebody. There's organizers all over the world. They're ready to help. They're ready to help you and help get your life in order. I'm James Lott Jr. We'll talk to you next time.